I show Kendrick nothing but love. But I can't get on the phone with a nigga. I ain't gonna call a nigga every day. I ain't no hoe.
So to all the people that's saying I'm lying about Kendrick refusing to get on the phone with the game, I wonder if I'll get an apology after this.
Homies to take Nip on tour. But I can't seem to get in touch with Black Sam to holler at him though. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I put Kendrick on his first mixtape. I took Kendrick on tour. I show Kendrick nothing but love. But I can't get on the phone with a nigga. I ain't gonna call a nigga every day. I ain't no hoe. I'ma just let you know that it ain't no static, so you hear it from my voice, so niggas ain't between us. Top dog I can call on the phone. I can call niggas, and everybody know that I ain't holding my tongue for nobody. I'm gonna say what I wanna say. Cause what's the worst that can happen to a nigga on this planet? He gonna die, but ain't that the inevitable? Nobody living, nothing living, not a flower, not a roach, not a butterfly, not a fucking, nothing living will leave here alive. That's my passion.
Okay, so it's a quick clip. Obviously, this is Game talking to a couple of fans. I don't know if this is an album release party where he was playing the documentary 3, but y'all know the documentary 3 came out, and a lot of people feel like he's addressing Kendrick all throughout the album. But let's just get back to what he just said. And I talked about this a little bit in my reaction to Joe Budden speaking on the documentary 3 album that just came out. If y'all want to see that, go check out the video before this. But Game was very instrumental in carrying the torch for Cali for a certain period of time. And it's a lot of people that we look up to now. Kendrick, Nipsey Hussle. I hear a lot of people talking about Larry June. Remember, Roddy Ricch had a lane. And I can't forget about TDE. Can't forget about J-Rock. Can't forget about Ab Soul. Can't forget about Schoolboy Q, Isaiah Rashad. But still, before a lot of these waves, Game was the guy from LA who was rapping his ass off and making classic projects that now a lot of people seem to forget about, or at least don't appreciate him the way I feel like he should be appreciated. And I feel like even in this clip, you can hear that coming from Game. Bro, I took you on tour.
I took Kendrick on tour.
And that's another thing. This is a thing that kind of Kendrick got in common, because Drake took him on a tour too a long time ago before he was popping. But now Kendrick is this big artist, and he feels like he's above certain people, and he don't got to talk to people. I hear some people saying he ain't got to let nobody know if he cutting them off. But if you a man and another man asks to speak to you, another man asks to parlay, I'm not saying that Kendrick got to squash it. Tell that man to his face, I don't rock with you. It ain't got to be no static, but I ain't cool with you. They say it's over the 100 song, and he felt like Drake was shooting at him, and Game brought him into their hometown to shoot the video and all of that. Cool. But if another man is asking to speak to you to try to end the issue and you don't speak to him, number one, I can understand why Game is confused when it's like, bro, I played a part in helping you on the come up. Now is Game saying, you know, I'm one of the people that gave you the chain and passed the torch down to you? Remember, it was that almost like ceremony when Snoop and all of these other people, I think it was Dr. Dre as well, but they all got together and said, yo, Kendrick, you're going to be the next big thing. And Kendrick was crying. But now they're saying Game was there that night too, and he was jealous. Like, all of this stuff is just popping up now, supposedly after a song that came out 10 years ago. But if we want to go back to when Snoop and all of them gave Kendrick his chainin' day, that's even longer than the 100 song. So now they trying to say Game was always hating on Kendrick. But if I'm Game and I was always hating on you, why do I want to reach out and speak to you? Now, Also, listen to what he said in this clip too, because he said, I want to let you know it ain't no static, but I ain't no hoe. I can still talk my stuff. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me.
And everybody know that I ain't holding my tongue for nobody. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
And I feel like that's what he doing on the album. I don't think he just 100% coming at Kendrick like, hey, the gloves are off. But I'm going to mention it. I'm going to talk about it. But I'm not going to take it to that next level. I'm just going to share my frustration. Also, when he talks about nothing going to happen to me, you listen to this documentary album. He got a song on there talking about deleting himself. You know what I mean? I got to say it a certain way on YouTube, but he has a song where he's talking about going through some type of depression, in my opinion, going through some things in life where he's just sharing it on the track. And I even said this in the Joe Budden video where they was talking about the documentary 3. I was like, yo, I'm looking at Game. He got this big afro. You know, it looked like he ain't been to the barbershop in a long time. I'm hoping that the Game is cool and nobody need to kind of sit down and talk to him.
What's the worst that can happen to a nigga on this planet? He gonna die. But ain't that the inevitable?
Which is also why, you know, I'm looking at this Kendrick situation and I'm saying if Game look like he in a dark place right now, maybe I hope this don't go left. Which goes back to, hey, Kendrick, speak to that man. It don't have to be kumbaya, but speak to that man. Now, along with other news, everybody's saying it's not smoke. I think a lot of parties are involved. They don't want it to get serious. I think more of the parties are just trying to calm down Game. And he seems to be calm when he's even talking about it. Like he said, he gonna still talk his shit, but it ain't gonna be no serious thing. But I heard Whack 100 say on DJ Academic's platform the other day that they are supposed to be going to the studio together, Game and Kendrick, in a couple of days. So if we see some photos come out, Game and Kendrick hugging it up and all that other stuff, we can just squash it for good. But it don't mean that Game gonna take back anything he said on this album. That's not gonna happen. But for the rest of this, I'll get out of here. I'll leave it up to y'all. Do y'all feel like Game is coming at Kendrick on this album? Do you think he trolling? You know, that's always a thing that they say about Game. Well, maybe he just talking to get some publicity to sell some albums. I just feel like the content he was talking about on this album on certain songs, because it's plenty of bops, it's plenty of, you know, R&B songs, it's plenty of West Coast songs, it's plenty of feel-good songs, but he's also getting really personal and introspective, in my opinion, on this album. And I just feel like some of that trolling that Game does or did in the past, it don't feel like that with this album. That's just me. So I want to hear from y'all in the comments. Make sure y'all like the video and subscribe. Let's play this one more time.
But I can't seem to get in touch with Black Sam to holler at him, though. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I put Kendrick on his first mixtape. I took Kendrick on tour. I showed Kendrick nothing but love. But I can't get on the phone with a nigga. I ain't gonna call a nigga every day. I ain't no hoe. I'ma just let you know that it ain't no static, so you hear it from my voice, so niggas ain't between us. Top dog, I can call on the phone. I can call niggas. And everybody know that I ain't holding my tongue for nobody. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Because what's the worst that can happen to a nigga on this planet? He gonna die. But ain't that the inevitable? Nobody living, nothing living, not a flower, not a fucking roach, not a butterfly, nothing living will leave here alive. That's my passion.